Welcome to the second segment of our deck building video, and in this one we are going to assemble and install the forms into the footing holes that we drilled in the last one and get them set up to get concrete poured. And this was an interesting process, getting these assembled and getting them located exactly where they needed to be to get the concrete poured. So stick around if you want to see how that went and the things we ran into and how we overcame them. I'm back at it again on this beautiful sunny day, low humidity, slight breeze, good chance to work on my tan. I've got the string lines run again on the outside edges of the holes, and I know I'm perfectly square. I talked to a friend of mine by the name of Pythagoras and told him what I had for dimensions, and he figured that my diagonals here to be square had to be 233 and 5/8 inches. So I checked, and that's pretty much what I have. So for what I'm trying to do to determine where to put these concrete tubes, form tubes, I'm in pretty good shape. Now this first hole, as you recall, we had an awful time with because it had a great big boulder in it. There's the boulder. I got that out along with other parts of it I had to break off first with the maul, and I got a chain around. So that's going to be a challenge, but I got a lot of room to work in there. This middle one, well, it's a little too close to the house and it is a little too far to my right. But we'll see if we can work with that with the tube and maybe just widen the base for the footing. So to start out, I took what is probably the most accurate hole, the best one here of the bunch, and I took a 6x6 and set it down in the hole and got it leveled up and propped right at that corner mark to see where I'm at as far as putting that tube in. This 6x6 post will not be staying in here in the full length. I'm just using it for reference right now, sitting at the bottom of the hole, because eventually it'll be on this concrete pad that I pour with a bracket, probably about 15, 16 inches long out of the ground because I don't have much head height here. And I line that up using something I just love using, and that is my post level. I am plumb using that. Close enough again for what I'm trying to do. So now my next step is to refer to my dimensions here, which say I need 3.5 inches between the side of the post and the edge of the hole here. And it tells me I need about 2.5 inches from the diagonal here from the corner to the edge of that hole, which is roughly what I have. I shouldn't have to do too much there. I can use that concrete tube pushed right up tight against this side and end up where I need to be. I'm just going to have to go down in that hole with a post hole digger and widen out the base to get my 18-inch dimension I need for the footing. That gets poured at the same time I pour the post, and that should be an interesting process. So that's where we're at today. Getting lined up, getting our reference so we can get these tubes all set in the ground. Get the inspector in here, tell me it's okay, and then I can start filling them with concrete. I've got the post out now that I've got my bearings on where everything needs to be. I know where I need to carve this hole out to get everything lined up properly. So now it's time to take the good old-fashioned post hole digger and carve this hole out a little bit. And that should be fun because I'm working in clay with a lot of stones and it's pretty dry right now. So let's just see what we end up with. And right away, we're into the rock. I'll check back later once I get a little more progress on this. That takes care of these two holes today. Got that one over there dug out, it's covered up. I just finished opening up this hole a little wider and got it a little deeper. There's the pile. That took me a couple of hours to do with the post hole digger. Tomorrow we go get the footing forms try to get those set in the hole. And this hole I don't need to widen out. This hole I need to get the form in there, and hopefully by Monday we're ready for inspection. Here it is, Labor Day. I spent a few days trying to wrap up that deck stair project and a few other things we had to do. I was waiting on my forms to show up that were back ordered. Nobody had them in stock locally, and those came in and they were a couple of days late. So I am back at getting the forms set for the footings, so hopefully I can get it inspected and poured yet this week, because the weather's starting to change. Today we're at the point where, when I got up anyway, I was looking at things, it's changed from, gee, I got to get out there while it's still cool and before the sun hits the front of the house, to, I think I'll do something else and wait until it warms up a little bit and the sun comes around. And it's only going to get colder from here on out. So, of course, my string level had to disappear. And yesterday, my wife was out and about and managed to pick up a couple new string levels for me. I got those set and see where I'm at here as far as level. With those in place, and I adjusted the strings a little bit, got them cleaned up and out of my way a little more and at the right height. I've got a better idea where I need to be. On this first corner, I've set the form up over the hole, propped it up a little bit on the corners, and I see now where I need to shave a little more off up on this corner right here, get that form to fit down in there. I'll get that done, get it leveled up, and then I'll attach the 12-inch tube to that. According to the manufacturer's instructions, we'll set this in and get one of them lined up and ready for inspection. I went with the Ready Base because it gives me a form for a base that's required by code in our area, 8 inches deep, and because the holes that I had to make are so big and elongated because of the problems hitting all of the rocks and boulders I had to take out, particularly this hole on this end, I had to come up with a preformed base. I couldn't just have a 14 to 18 inch diameter hole in the bottom that would meet code with the tube suspended over the top. So I went with a Ready Base. It's a 23 inch diameter. It's a lot bigger than I need, but I'm going to end up with a lot of space in the bottom anyway with the 8 inch depth. It's made for 8, 10, and 12 inch concrete tubes. I'm required here by code to use 12 inch tubes because I have to use a 6 inch square post. When you prepare this base for a 12 inch tube, you cut every other flap out. There's a line here to mark it. You cut on the outside edge of that line with your tin snips. I found works the best. And that, you push that over the top, and this tab on the 12 inch catch on the bottom and hold the tube in place. So I'm going to proceed to trim those off, and then we will install it on a tube. With those cut off, I'll get somebody to give me a hand and we'll push this onto the tube. This is the tricky part. You have to push this down and lock these two tabs on. And I tried to do it myself, and you get one side down, the other side pops off. And if you got two people, let's go. It goes right on. It slides down. Slide it down to the bottom. I'm going to put my foot there and I'm going to pull this up, remembering that the 12-inch tab is here and on the opposite side. Pull it up just enough to clear that tab. Got that one cleared. I'm going to clear the one on the back side, push it down, and we have a tube in place. I have to wrap this now with duct tape all the way around. That'll secure it, and we'll have a form ready for concrete. In the meantime, today I did a lot of digging, scraping, breaking rocks loose from the side, adjusting. Finally I got the 48-inch depth I need, or as close as I could, because I'm on a big flat piece of sandstone that takes up about a third of the bottom of the hole. Luckily it's flat, and with that down there they won't mind for cold because the concrete is going to be sitting right on a rock that is buried and stuck there forever. With the tube assembled to one of those ready bases, I got it on so I could see where I'm at, and for rough purposes right now it's close enough. It's pretty level. Use a little tweaking before I pour concrete. I'll do that by putting some dirt in around it and get it positioned where it needs to be. I'm not exactly where I want to be for the post on the top, but I can't go any further this direction because I'm up against another big piece of sandstone sticking out of the side, and that one's not going to come out. That's a boulder. That's what you end up with. You get as close as you can when you have soil like this and rocks. Another day, time to tackle another footing. And right here is the problem on this one. Another great big sandstone boulder stuck right out of the side, and I need to move the footing in that direction in order to hit center. So we'll see what we turn up with. It could be just a flat one laying up against the side, or it could be another huge one, and that's a problem. And then some days, by some bizarre twist of fate, things go your direction. Fish that out of there, and it won't take long at all to make that hole the size it needs to be. They are out of the hole. Wonder who's going to do all this stuff when I get old. Well, let's get this thing carved out of here. Of course, where there's one boulder, there has to be another. And yet, another one out. I think that's it. I had to bring in the heavy artillery. We got it pried out of there. It took quite a bit of work. It's past lunchtime. It's past noon. Got another one in. I'm down as far as I can go because I'm on a big flat piece of sandstone rock. I had to use every tool in my arsenal to get down there. Finally getting down with a grain scoop and a garden trowel to scrape enough away around the edges and get the final clay off of that big chunk of sandstone. But we're there. One hole left to go. And something I forgot to mention, in the process I rescued 2 frogs and a toad this morning. Somehow found their way into the bottom of that hole and couldn't get out. And close by is my guard cat, Molly, putting in another hard day. Here are the combined spoils of the archaeological expedition this morning. Since I've got such a massive hole on this one now after getting the boulders out, I had to use a plumb bob to get my bearings where these lines cross, and now I'm going to have to adjust that over a little bit for the center of the hole for that ready base, and then use the ready base to mark a diameter and start digging. And actually this one might not be that bad to dig. I have the tubes aligned now, checking with the level so they're in the right position for the 6x6 posts to be notched and pick up the rim joist for the deck, and then on the ends the 2 joists, and I'm as deep as I can go. I am on a rock ledge of solid sandstone. This entire hole is one big solid ledge. That one probably 3/4 of the hole, and that one half of the hole. So I can go no deeper. I couldn't get 48 inches on this one because there's just no place to go. This one about 46 inches, and that one I was able to get down the full 48 as I had soft ground down to that point. With that done, what I did was set a line with the line levels to make sure I had a level line, because now I have to mark where I need to cut these off, because I can't have it this high. I only have, working with a 2x8, roughly 7.5 inches for height for joists. So what that means is I have to get these as low as possible. So I took a level, a 4-foot level across the ground at a good point and got where I needed the height to be at the worst point, and then I want these all the same height. So at the worst point it'll be a ground level and the other one's just a hair above ground level when I pour the cement. We got off kind of a rocky start on this project, but I think we're getting it pretty well under control. Thanks for watching the second segment on our deck building project. The forms are all set and ready to go, and in our next video we're going to get the concrete poured in them. If you want to be sure and don't miss it, then please consider subscribing to our channel. And if you found anything useful or enjoyable in this video, please click like. So until next time, thanks for watching, take care, and enjoy your projects.